All right, welcome to the farmhouse. We are going to get you checked in here. You just entered into our dining room and we bring guests in here first, and this is where you'll have breakfast in the morning. We can seat 10 people in here. The house itself sleeps about 12. If you do full house, we can put another 2 in there. We've got 3 rooms, and other guests may join us for breakfast in the morning depending on who's here. Breakfast is at 8, and it will feature farm fresh ingredients grown either here or locally, as many as possible. And if you like coffee, we'll have that. There's also self-serve Keurig in here, teas, hot chocolate, marshmallows if you want to enjoy out on the fire, and we'll go ahead and get started. One thing that you may want to take a look at though while you are in this room, one of my favorite features in the house, is the stanchion light that is above us. This stanchion is a stanchion that was here on the farm whenever we purchased it, and it would have been used to tie cows in the early days of milking on the farm. All of the bottles are glass milk bottles, original to the area, and we had this custom manufactured by a gentleman in Connellsville for us, and it's one of my favorite features in the house. So you'll see a couple of other things. Most everything here is local to the house. The house itself was built in 1903. Mike and I have owned it for about 6.5 years. All right, so we are in the entryway. This is where you can get your self-serve coffee, tea, hot chocolate, whatever it is that you'd like. Light switch for the stairway is right here to your right. And feel free to wander out onto the porch. There's lots of rocking chairs out here, and if you want, you can come on and So on the porch, feel free to relax, bring your coffee out, enjoy it. You can bring your wine down earlier. You do have complimentary wine and cheese in your room upstairs for you. That is an add-on package typically that you can purchase. Local wine from a grower and producer here in Fayette County, as well as cheeses from our own Naturally Golden family farm. Bring that out here, enjoy it. You can see the sunset behind us here and the sunrise just over the flowers field right behind us, but feel free to enjoy one of the rocking chairs and hang out. All right, this is our Delane room. This room features a king-size bed. The bed, as you will notice, is custom built by Scottdale Lumber in Scottdale. Again, we do like to work as much as we can with other local artisans and crafters. The bed is made of oak 6-panel doors, which come from another home that was being refurbished in Scottdale, and we purchased those. There are old gas lights in here from the same gentleman in Connellsville who had built our fixture downstairs. We purchased those from him. This house would have originally had gas lighting in it. Doesn't now, but we love those lights so much that we thought that we needed them. So again, king size bed in here. If you need an additional person, there is a rollaway trundle underneath, twin size, so you can put a small child in here. We also have a pack and play if anybody needs for other small children. We are small children friendly. We're also pet friendly, just not in this room. We just like to keep that for non-pet folks. So each room does have its own Wi-Fi TV if that's something that you like, although quite honestly, most of our guests don't even turn them on. They just like to enjoy everything that we've got here. Okay, so I'm in the Delane bathroom. This room features subway tile, dresser with extra towels, linens, everything that you need is in here. Originally, this bathroom and the one from the Garnet was one very large bathroom with one pedestal sink. We kept this one and reused it. A small tub and a toilet, and we were able to make it so that each bedroom had its own bathroom. This one is attached. When we get into the Garnet Room, you'll see that they're just right across the hall, but it's a short 4-step walk. So something that our guests really enjoy is that they have their own bathrooms, which if you've never stayed at a bed and breakfast is always something that some people are a little bit concerned about, is that they won't have their own restroom, but you do have that here. So you can come on in, take a look, and if you need any more towels, they're out in the hallway. All right, we're in our Garnet Room, and our Garnet Room was named for my first 4-H Guernsey calf, who I remember fondly naming. She was born July 4th, 1987, And I sat at my grandmother's kitchen table, and we wanted to come up with a name that started with G because her dam's name started with G. It was Gem. And we were flipping through the Avon catalog. My grandmother was an Avon dealer. My other grandmother was looking to purchase some Avon at the time, so Garnet was the name. The Delane Room, which we saw first, that room was named for Mrs. Delane Rumbaugh, who we purchased the farm from. We'll go into our Annalee Room here in just a minute, also named for another one of the Rumbaughs, but my family, overwhelmingly, as we were thinking of a third name, Garnet was the name. So she's named for my very first 4-H Guernsey cow. This room includes a queen-size bed, as well as a twin day bed, and it does adjoin directly into our Annalee Room. And so you can rent one or both. Each room has its own refrigerator in it, as well as, like I said, TV if that's something that you need. There's Wi-Fi throughout the house. There are in-room air conditioners in each of the rooms as well. Ceiling fans if you prefer that, depending on the season. And then if you're super cold in the winter, we've always got extra blankets, and we have space fireplace heaters as well. All right, we are in the main level of the Annalee Room. The Annalee Room is named for Annalee Rumbaugh, and this was the last room for us to redo. We started to redo this house probably in about late 2018, and this room still had original horsehair and rock lath in it, so we gutted it. The whole house has been remodeled, and we again brought in a lot of features from a lot of other homes in the area. There is another gas light above me. There is some really cool ceiling tile, and then we did whitewash the boards and the trim that you see everywhere else. There is original trim actually from this house and from my house. My house in Scottsdale was built in 1898. This house was built in 1903, so we tried to bring in as much of the original woodwork as possible. This room is on 2 levels. This is the main level. It includes a pull-out couch, so you can sleep 2 there, and a shower if you prefer a shower over a tub, and the restroom is on this level. As I said, this room was named for Annalee Rumbaugh. When we were tearing the house, the old horsehair and rock lath out, there was a small closet in this room, and this was the boys' room, and apparently they must have been pretty ornery boys on the farm, and they locked her into the closet, and she had written on there something to the effect of that the boys were bad and she was mad at them, and signed it Annalee. Then when we were cleaning the attic out, we found a board, and she had scribbled her name on it, and it was still in the attic right above us, which is now the loft bedroom. And so we knew that this room had to be named Annalee after her. She was the graffiti artist of the family, and we're happy that it gave us a great third room name and has some significance as well. We are in the Annalee Loft now, and this is the main sleeping area for this room. There is a queen-size bed in here, as well as a small sitting area for 2. You can enjoy your coffee up here. Again, in the winter time, there is a really nice electric fireplace in here that helps keep the room warm, and also, you know, provides a little bit of ambiance for you. This was the last room that we redid, and whitewashed the walls and just tried to make it a unique space for everyone that's here. This room does have its own separate entrance. There are 2 levels of steep stairs that you do need to climb to get to this. All of our bedrooms and our bathrooms are on the 2nd floor, so we do need to make sure that people can climb stairs whenever they come to visit us. But this is one of my favorite rooms. I just think it's a really cute space. And provides some separation. If you've got your kids, you can be up here, you can put them down on the couch downstairs, and still just have one room. Again, it does connect to our Garnet Room. If you choose, you can rent both of those. Otherwise, entrance for this room is through our kitchen area. Okay. We're in the living room, and this room includes cable and VHS. If you want to go a little retro, we've got plenty of old videos for you to watch behind us. There's also a lot of games, checkers, you name it, here for you to enjoy. Piano, if you play the piano. We certainly enjoy being entertained as we cook breakfast for you just over here into the kitchen. Also additional seating for 4. If you prefer to have your breakfast in here, we can always do that. Guests really enjoy that during sunflower season because it looks right out onto the fields. The fireplaces in the house are not working, although this house was built in 1903, and at one time there would have been 7 working fireplaces in the home. So we're in the kitchen. This kitchen was done again by a local craftsman, handmade cherry cabinets done prior to us purchasing it. And we were able to incorporate some really cool barn finds in here. The family that owned this farm prior to us purchasing dealt in antiques, and so there's some really cool old warehouse and farm product signs located in here. Some other things that we want to continue to add, but this is where we'll prepare your breakfast for you. Again, that's something that we do for our guests. If you rent whole house, it's still something that we enjoy doing, so we'll cook breakfast for you.
So my name is Ashton. I am a junior at Penn State, and I am the summer intern this summer for Maple Bottom Farm. So some of my tasks this summer are basically a little bit of everything. I've been here for about 3 weeks, and I don't think that I have had a day that was the same yet. I know that the second day that I came, I went and made cheese, and I also went and watched our milk be processed. Along with the day-to-day milking, feeding calves, those kind of tasks that you have to do on a working dairy farm. I grew up on a dairy farm in Indiana County, so I am very used to the hustle and bustle of living on a dairy farm. Something that Maple Bottom Farm has that I don't have at my home farm is the robot, which I get to learn a ton about, and all of the computer systems that go with it. Plus all of the agritourism events that we have here at Maple Bottom Farm, including the sunflowers and going and giving tours to little kids or people that are staying in the bed and breakfast.
Here we are in front of our calf hutches, a very popular place here on the farm. When you do come and visit us during sunflower season, you're more than welcome to visit with our calves. That's all included for you. And they definitely enjoy loving up on you. So here we are with Maggie. Maggie is about 10 weeks old. She is just recently weaned, and by weaned we mean that she's no longer drinking milk. When our calves are born on this dairy, and just like on most others, we do remove them from mom pretty much right away. If I know that a cow is calving here on the farm, we do have videos, cameras that I can log on and see and be over here so that we can start to take care of these calves literally the minute that they hit the ground. Within the first 2 hours of them being born, they get a gallon of colostrum. We milk the dam. We test her colostrum to make sure that it is of good quality and that there's also enough. So if she's made not enough, we have some frozen that we can use from another cow. Calves are a little bit different than people in that they pretty much don't have any immune system whenever they're born. So all of the immunity that they get is through passive transfer from that colostrum. So she gets a gallon right away. 8 to 10 hours later, she'll get another gallon. We will tube feed that if needed. And then if their bellies are full and they don't want to drink on the 3rd feeding, we don't really worry about it, because by the 4th feeding, they're up and ready to drink on their own. When they're born, they get a series of vaccinations for rota and coronavirus, not the one that we've all come to know and love and probably more like hate over the last couple of years, but something that's been general practice in dairy cattle for a long time. Again, they get their colostrum, they get their navels dipped with iodine, they get 2 tags put into their ear. The button tag here on her left ear, that's an RFID tag. That is unique to her. There is a 15-digit number on there that's different than any other cow in the world, kind of like a social security number. So if there were ever a disease outbreak, that can be used for traceability. It also is used here on our dairy with our robots for management. She also gets a number tag in her ear. So you'll see Maggie has number 746 in her ear, or 745 rather in her ear. Fruit Roll-Up is 746. To me, I know all of their names, and Fruit Roll-Up's already lost her tag, so she's gonna get a new one put in. I know all of their names, I know all of their mom's names and grandma's names, but my husband doesn't know who they are. So we rely on those numbers for visual identification to be able to tell us really quick, because while we've got cute names on their hutches right now, so we know who they are and you know who they are, those name tags don't go along with them every day. You'll see that there are little buds on their heads. Our veterinarian is here once a month. We have a regular herd health checkup. He does pregnancy exams of our cows, checks on any sick cows if needed, goes over protocols, and also spends some time with our calves. One of the things that he will do is remove horns. Most dairy cattle currently are born with horns. We remove those because they can be a danger to them and to us. And so we do that whenever they're born. It's kind of like a loose fingernail at that point. The horn bud, whenever they're young, is not attached, and so we just give a little bit of lidocaine and cauterize that, and then the horn never grows. You can see that these girls were done 2 weeks ago, and that they're already pretty much healed, and the hair is starting to grow over them. So by about a month, you won't even know that they're there. The calf on the end, you can see she already has her hair completely grown over. We do remove them, as I said, right away from mom when they're born. Again, that's so that we can ensure that they get the proper amount of colostrum, because not all moms make enough. But also we want to make sure that mom doesn't step on them, that she doesn't injure them, and also that that calf is in a nice clean environment where there isn't any manure or anything around that they could get into their mouth. A calf will stand in the first 1 to 2 hours after it's born, and like us and like children, they're not so good when they first stand. By a couple hours they're good, but they'll stand and they'll fall down. And if mom did happen to go to the bathroom in that pen anywhere, we don't want the calf to be in there. So we'll bring them into a warming room in the winter. They'll get a calf coat put onto them once they come out here, because unlike us, they like it a little bit cooler. Ideal temperature for a cow is less than about 60 degrees, from 30 to 60. Now at 40 we do put blankets on our calves because they like it a little bit warmer than our mature cows. But as long as a cow has a windbreak, it doesn't need to be inside. A beef cow will grow a thicker, heavier coat than a dairy cow will. They're a little bit thinner hided, a little bit less hair that they grow. But one of the coolest things that God does in nature is that in the winter time, calves are born with heavier hair coats, and in the summertime they're born with lighter weight hair coats. So it kind of adjusts to what the temperature is outside for them. Those calves will stay here in this hutch. They'll get fed about 2 gallons of milk a day, and they'll get grain and water, free choice water from the time that they're born, and then at 8 weeks we'll wean them. They'll be eating enough grain at that point, and then we'll leave them in these individual hutches for about 2 weeks after they're weaned, and then we move them into group pens. That's kind of like going to kindergarten, and then they'll stay with that class as they grow older. Cow will have her first calf whenever she's 2 years old. At our farm, that's when she returns back here. She spends her summer on pastures and various other locations, at our farm, at my brother's farm, at some rented facility, and then they'll have their first calf whenever they're 2 years old, and they'll come back here and enter into the lactating herd. But they do spend their first 2 to 3 months here, and then come back here whenever they're ready to be milked.
My name is Lee Baker. I have raised chickens for 8 years. I'm 13. I have a Facebook page. It's called Maple Bottom Farm Chickens. I started it last year when I was in school, and I did it to raise my business and get it bigger. So these are some of my eggs. I have brown eggs, and here's some green eggs. This one may even be a little bit blue. I sell my meat birds for $25 a piece, and I sell dozens of eggs for $3. And you can get all of this through my mom, through Maple Bottom Farm on Facebook. You can you can get a hold of her on Messenger, or you could call her. I have Jesse's Chickens. You can follow her on Facebook. I have her do all my processing for my meat chickens. You can come visit us at Maple Bottom Farm to come eat some of my chickens. She will be cooking the extra chickens that I will give her on August 14th. There will be a few other food trucks here with her, but
we are now in our Freestyle Barn. This is where the lactating herd lives. We milk approximately 80 cows. In Pennsylvania, there are just under 5,000 producing herds in the state, where the average herd size is 73 cows. So we're average in the number of cows that we milk. We milk about 60 cows in a robotic milker. There are 2 of those here in Fayette County and 2 dairies in Westmoreland County that use robots to milk their cows. So a cow in the group that's behind me can go through and be milked 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The average cow in our herd goes through the robot just less than 3 times a day. Right now she's actually going through about 3 1/4 times each day because we're not very full in this group. But we like to milk about 60 cows in this group. Then we have a separate group behind us, and we'll head down there in just a minute, where we milk 20 Guernseys and their milk is separated. The milk from this group behind us is shipped and sold to Land O'Lakes. So one of the largest butter plants in the world is located right here in Pennsylvania. We are proud Land O'Lakes member owners, and it's really cool that we produce butter that people enjoy all over the world right here in Pennsylvania. There's about 1,700 member owners for Land O'Lakes. Our Guernsey group, excuse me, is shipping and processing milk for Naturally Golden Family Farms. So in this Freestyle Barn, it's called a Freestyle Barn because the cows can get up, roam around, and do whatever they want to do throughout the day. You can see the green stalls behind me. Those are flexible stalls. And the cow sleeps and lays down on a mattress, much like we do. Hers is about 4 inches of foam and rubber. And then we bed it with sawdust on top. We go through at least twice a day, scrape any manure off, because just like some of our kids, they don't all keep their bedrooms very clean. We'll clean that off, and it'll go into this alley here behind me. And we have automatic alley scrapers that clean the barn 365 days a year, 24 hours a day as well. And that goes down into a manure holding tank behind us that we then use that manure for as much of our own fertilizer needs as we can here on the dairy. So a cow in here may also have some additional tags on her, or you might see some of the blue neck collars on there. Those are kind of like a Fitbit for cows. It measures activity on her, and we use that to let us know if she's maybe not feeling as well, or to also detect heat on that cow. A cow will eat about 100 pounds of feed every single day. This is a total mixed ration, and pretty much everything that she needs to eat is in this feed. It's a mix of corn silage and grasses and other small grain forages that we grow here on the farm. We crop about 350 acres. Then there is also some corn that we grow, and then we do purchase our feed from Cargill, and that supplies all of the additional protein. Cows, unlike many of us, see a nutritionist on a regular basis. Our nutritionist is here every 2 weeks and takes forage samples to determine what the cows need to eat and to balance that. So our feed may vary from week to week. Today we just had a delivery, and that'll last us a couple of weeks. So she's going to eat about 100 pounds of feed each day, and she's going to drink about 50 gallons or a bathtub full of water. Now milk itself is 87% water, so she converts a lot of that back into usable nourishment for us. So the cows are going through a sort gate right now. It's reading their RFID tag as they circle around this barn, and if they have permission to be milked, it will sort them into one pen, and then that will send them into the robot. If they don't have permission to be milked, or when they're done milking, it puts them back out into this group where they can come and enjoy feed throughout the day. A cow will lie down for 16 to 18 hours every single day. She'll get up and walk around and enjoy eating for about 4 to 6 hours of the day, and for about 2 hours of the day, she'll just kind of chill, she'll hang out, and that's whenever she goes to be milked. So they really are quite lazy, and like many of us trying to enjoy our summer vacations, they really kind of just like to relax. Cows are ruminants. They have 4 stomach compartments, meaning that while they eat their feed here, when they go and lie down, you'll sometimes see them chewing. They are chewing and ruminating and chewing their cud. This is Peppa. All of the cows have names, and she is recently fresh, about a month ago, and just hanging out here in our robot group. 160 cows on the dairy. As I said, we milk 80. 120 of the cows are Guernsey cows. That's the breed that we're focusing on. However, we do milk each of the recognized dairy breeds on this farm, and there's a couple of them up here eating that I'll show you. The gray cows everybody always asks about, they're actually brown Swiss. They originate from Switzerland. This is Cloud, and she's just enjoying some lunch. They are probably the largest or second largest. They'll mature out to about 1,800 pounds. The Jersey cows, the light brown ones, the solid colored ones, they're the smallest. They'll weigh about 1,200 or so, maybe 1,400 pounds if they're very, very large at maturity, but 1,000, 1,200 at maturity. They're also much smaller when they're born. One of the cool things I did forget to tell you when we were down at the calves is that a calf will actually double her birth weight, in the first 60 days. So they come out about 85 pounds on a Guernsey, and they'll weigh 170 to 200 pounds whenever they're weaned. This is a Guernsey cow, and then we've got our Holstein cow behind us. Holstein cow is the most popular cow in the United States. 90% of the milk produced here in our country comes from Holstein cows. They produce the highest volumes of milk. They typically have the lowest amount of components in that, fat and protein, unlike the other colored breeds that you see here. This is the largest cow in our barn. She weighs just over 1,800 pounds. And you can see that she's going to stand here and eat a lot, but she also produces a lot of milk. So behind me is our Guernsey group. We milk about 20 cows. They live here in the Freestyle Barn, and we take them into the old tie stalls to milk. Each cow in this group is genetically tested to make sure that she carries the A2 beta casein. All of our milk shipped to Naturally Golden Family Farms is A2A2. For those of you who can't drink milk and think that you're lactose intolerant, if you have been diagnosed with lactose intolerance, that is the milk sugar. However, if you just know that whenever you drink milk and it does bad things to you, there is a chance that you're not allergic or sensitive to the sugar in milk, that you may actually be sensitive to one of the proteins in milk, and that could be beta casein. Now, 90%, and this is an old study because I actually just read an article today, but 90% of our milk comes from Holstein cows. And in a previous study prior to the focus of the A2 a couple of years ago, only about 15% of Holstein cows carried the A2A2 gene, whereas 93% of Guernseys had it in the A2A2 form. Now, all of the breeds have been focusing on it over a recent number of years, and about 40 to 50% of the Holstein sires used in the AI industry currently are carrying the A2A2 gene. But Guernseys are the most popular, and our milk is A2A2. Now, they call them golden Guernseys because unlike any of the other breeds, they actually don't digest the beta-carotene that they eat in their feed. So it's kind of like, I tell people, you know, it might be like eating carrots and drinking milk at the same time. So they pass on that color because they don't digest it into their milk, and it has a much more yellow golden color to it than any of the other breeds have. So if you look at our milk, there's nothing wrong with it. That's just the natural color to it. The Guernsey used to be America's table milk prior to the changing of the way that dairy producers were paid for their milk, and they were the primary breed in the country. And the tagline used at that point was everything good and more. We believe that milk is nature's most nearly perfect food. It's got pretty much a lot of the nutrients that you need in there, but there's a couple more things in Guernsey milk. So this group of cows that's behind me, they will go in here shortly to be milked. We milk them twice a day. And you can see one of the coolest things in our barn, or one of the things that we do for cow comfort, is that there is a cow brush back here. So anytime that you've got a spot that you want to itch and you can't get it, you can just walk up to this brush. It'll circle around and turn on whenever you're there, and it will scratch the cow's back. You know, just helps clean them, and they really... Alright, we are in our milk house for our robot room. The milk, it comes from the robot through these lines into this large stainless steel tank where it's cooled to below 40 degrees. It's then picked up on our farm every other day and taken to the plant for processing. Now, some people have a couple of misconceptions about dairy, so we'll just clear some of those up. All milk is tested tested. Milk is actually the most regulated food in the country, and so all milk is tested to be antibiotic free. On this farm, if a cow is treated with antibiotics, which we do use if she does get sick, then her milk is automatically diverted and goes down the drain here to my right, and it never ends up in that tank. But just to be sure, because human error does happen, the milk is sampled, and then to make sure that there aren't antibiotics in that milk so that it's safe for you and I to drink. Again, it does leave here, it is pasteurized, and then they process it for whether it be milk or ice cream or yogurt, maybe butter, or even us for the cheese that we produce. All of those are, great ways to get sources of dairy. So milk on the shelf, you can usually, most people will buy a red cap or a blue cap, a royal blue cap. When you buy the royal blue cap at a traditional grocery store, you're buying 2% milk, and that's pretty standard across the country. And so I ask people how much fat is in 2% milk. That's not a trick question, it's a pretty easy answer, it's 2%. But then I'll ask you how much fat is in whole milk. And this is where I usually stump people. So it's not all of it, it's not 100%. Again, milk is very highly regulated. Milk is standardized in traditional processing to 3.25% fat. So whole milk doesn't have that much more fat in it than regular 2% milk or skim milk. Just 3.25%. And it's standardized that way. It's homogenized in most stores for you. And that's to make sure that that you're getting an even product. Now our milk for our naturally golden family farms, we're standardizing it to 4%. That's because our Guernsey cows are producing about 5.5% fat, whereas a Holstein cow, they're again going to make more volume of milk, but they don't make the components. So we have to standardize down to that 3.25. Now today's modern Holstein cow probably produces most of them more fat than that, but traditionally we had to bring that level down so that we could make sure that customers were getting the same texture, the same taste, the same feel every time that they did that. But know that the fat that's in dairy is actually good fat. It's fat that's needed to carry those A, D, E, and K vitamins throughout your body. And so whether you're getting it from 2% or whole milk, now we are in our Thai-style group. You can see our Guernsey cows in here being milked. We bring 14 cows in at one time, so we do a switch. We try to keep this number as little as possible, just enough to make a batch of cheese. And again, all of these are Guernseys. They are A2A2 tested. The cows walk in here, and then they get grain while they're in here, so that entices them to want to come in, but just like in the robot, they want to be milked. It takes the average cow probably about 6 to 7 minutes whenever she's in the robot to be prepped and to be milked. So the milk comes in through these lines up into the stainless pipeline and then goes back into its own separate tank to be held for further processing. We'll go back around the back here in just a minute and you can see where the milk comes from, but this is it. We like to say here that we have a Flintstones barn and a Jetsons barn. And this is our Flintstone barn, and whenever you get to see our robot here in just a minute, you'll get to see how the Jetsons live. Uggs isn't done. Yeah. That's there. There is a warm water and iodine solution that goes around and cleans each of the teats. It uses a laser eye. You might be able to see the red that's in there. This robot is 6 years old this summer. On August 9th, we installed it. Grand's Dairy out of Greensburg did that for us, and it's a DeLaval robot. And it will milk cows as often as they want to be milked. The most a cow can come through is 6 times a day, every 4 hours. The most any cow in this dairy has come through on a regular basis is 5.2 times a day. Now it's having trouble finding her right rear teeth to clean it. And so it's just like you and I, whenever it has dirty glasses, it's cleaning its lens, it's washing it off and drying it, and now it's going to come and try to find that teeth again and to clean it. Now Mountain Pie does have very good teeth placement, so it shouldn't have any issues finding her teeth. And there you go, it found it. It just had dirty glasses. So it'll go around, it'll clean each of those 4 teeth. And while she's in here, it will give her grain to eat based on her production. So cows producing more milk get more grain in here. They also come in here because they want to eat that grain. The grain in here is flavored like berries and chocolate. And so we actually use, our nutritionists can sometimes get a chocolate byproduct to put in there. So it's actual Hershey's chocolate maybe just like you and I eat. But the leftover kind of stuff. So once it has cleaned each of the 4 teeth, it's going to attach the unit to her. It does that each of the 4 teeth cups individually. It indexes everything off of the right front teeth, so it'll find that first, and then it'll find the other teeth. So it'll attach to the right rear. While she's in here, last time the number that shows up there on the top left-hand screen is 21.2. That's how many pounds she made the last time that she was here. She comes through just about 3.2 times a day. She really enjoys getting milked, even though she's later in her lactation. So she's making about 65 pounds every day, and had her calf about 11 months ago. So it's already attached. You can see the blue, it turns blue to each of the 3 teeth now, and it's going to find that 4th. There's a lot of data that goes into this, as you can only imagine. The algorithm and the data that it collects, it measures each teeth and how much milk they all produce, and it's measuring on flow. So when the flow rate reduces to about 0.3 pounds per minute, it will detach off of those individual teeth and then wait till all 4 are done and then exit. Or then she'll be done and then she'll get to exit. We installed the robot to help with labor because labor has and will continue to be hard to find on farms and now everywhere. But we put the robot in so that basically we could prepay our labor and lock in our labor. And while it does sometimes call off with an alarm, it's usually something that I can answer from my phone, not have to worry about somebody getting sick or partying too hard the night before or whatever. The weather's nice outside, and so people just don't want to go to work. The robot shows up every day. If there is a problem, we've got great technicians that we can call, and people come and fix it either remotely or come and do that for us. So it's going to take her just another minute or 2 to milk. This is the milk that will go into the general tank and be shipped and processed through Land O'Lakes. You can see Mountain Pie is almost done. She's got just one unit, one toe still attached, and to that left rear teeth. Now when it's done here, it's at 0.4. When it drops to that 0.3, it's going to detach it like it is now. And now what the robot's going to do is that it recognizes that she's done. It's going to spray her with an iodine solution to disinfect. It's going to clean its glasses again, clean its eye, disinfect each of the teat cups, and rinse them. And then as the front gate opens, she is going to start to walk out. And when she walks out, then it's going to hose off the platform with some water, and then the next cow will start to come in here. And you can see that there's a nose, and someone's wanting to come in now. So these cows just do this totally on their own all day long. okay, July 10709. You've got permission to be milked. All right, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about Naturally Golden Family Farms and to clear that up for some folks. I am president of Naturally Golden Family Farms, a small cooperative of Guernsey breeders located here in Pennsylvania. We register about 3,500 to 4,000 Guernseys in the country, and just to put that into perspective, the largest dairy farm in Pennsylvania milks more cows than that. So we are a very small niche breed, and again, producing golden Guernsey milk. My passion and a lot of the breeders here in Pennsylvania is for the Guernsey cow. In addition to serving as president of NGFF, I'm also on the board of directors for the American Guernsey Association, serving my second term, and also serve as their treasurer. We as a breed know that we are at a disadvantage because we are producing a premium product and selling it to the commercial commodity market, and so we wanted to do something about it. Our long-term goal is to bring in as many Guernsey herds as we can here in Western Pennsylvania, but also throughout the country into our small cooperative. We do not own any processing equipment. We rely on other local producers and processors to work with us to process the milk that we make. The milk here on our farm is segregated into a separate tank, as well as the other farm that works with us, which currently is Troutacre Farm in Enon Valley. And together our milk is used for the NGFF, the Naturally Golden products, Naturally Golden Family Farms products. We work with Pleasant Lane Creamery to process our cheeses for us, and currently we are processing cheddar, aging it to about 300 days. It is very good, very creamy. It's sharp. It's very enjoyable. And then we are doing a butter case, which is not very common to a lot of folks. It's a German style soft cheese, really mild flavor. It is great on a grilled cheese sandwich. And we also do curds, which again, here in Pennsylvania, we didn't know a lot about curds, but in other states like the cheese state, Wisconsin, curds are just an everyday favorite. They're great for snacking. And the way that I like to describe curds is that they're baby cheese. So cheese gets its flavor through aging, and you can make cheese today and have it available to eat even this afternoon. So curds and whey, you know, we've all heard about Little Miss Muffet. Well, whey is the liquid portion and curds are the solids that are left. All that cheese is, and I'm boiling this down because it really is a science, but it's milk, salt, and some enzymes. And the enzymes are pretty specific for the cheese varieties, and they get their flavor from that as well as from the amount of time that you allow them to age. So while our cheddar ages about 300 days, our butter case is available at 42 days. And then the curds can be available within 24 hours. They don't have a lot of flavor. They might be a little bit squeaky for you, but we add flavoring to them. So we might add some buffalo flavoring or dill or garlic and chive, whatever works. I like the bits, the crumbles that are at the end. I love to mix those into scrambled eggs, for example, for breakfast. One of my favorite dishes here at the farmhouse. So our co-op, the goal is to help preserve the Guernsey breed. Again, we're kind of a heritage breed and have a very small market. Some things that make us different, that rich golden color. You can kind of see it here in this bottle. This is a 56-ounce bottle that we have. And this is our label, and we're pretty proud about our label. The cow that's on here was actually from Bonnie Moore. And the picture that you see in the background was done in 2000 by the Pennsylvania Guernsey breeders. They commissioned Bonnie to do this. There's a covered bridge in here. You might recognize this covered bridge from right along Route 70. These are real cows that she painted, Pennsylvania cows, so we're pretty proud about that. So it says Guernsey A2A2 milk. Again, every cow is genetically tested just to confirm that she is A2A2. And then there's a picture of our farms on here. This whole milk actually has our family's photo on here. And so it says, why Guernsey A2A2 milk? Our family farms have a history deeply rooted in dairy farming and the Guernsey breed. The Guernsey cow is the source for naturally occurring A2A2 beta-casein protein milk, making it easier to digest. Our milk proudly carries the Golden Guernsey label and is rich in beta-carotene and omega-3s. We thank you for supporting local farm families as we strive to bring you Golden Guernsey milk that is everything good and more. So you can purchase that at some local retailers. You can visit our website, naturallygoldenfamilyfarms.com, and there's a list of some of those on there. If you'd like it, just send us a message, and would be sure happy to meet up with you. So we do that in whole milk, and we do that in individual serving sizes as well. This is a 12-ounce serving, and this is our chocolate. I had a little bit of this earlier. It's pretty creamy, pretty rich, and I think that you'll definitely enjoy it. And again, we are very thankful for any support that you can give to us, to our farm, to our families, and hopefully the future of many more dairies here in Western Pennsylvania, and quite honestly, throughout the country. So that's a little bit about our story.